Hello everyone. We are going to get started here. My name is Pramod Sambidi. I'm the Program Manager for Socioeconomic Modeling here at Houston-Galveston Area Council. I have my colleagues here, Sungmin Lee and Lee Zhao, and also Andrea. So if you have any questions, just let Sungmin or Lee know and they can help you with anything you have an application going on. People on the webinar, you can chat in your questions or you can ask them at the end. So I'm going to cover two applications. It probably takes 1 hour. And after that, the people here can play with the applications and we'll have the staff to assist you guys. So let's get started. Also, one more thing. You might have received a survey questionnaire along with in the email. Please fill it out and you can submit it now or you can email it to us. Your feedback is very important. We can use it to improve our applications. So thank you for that in advance. So I guess most of you know Houston-Galveston Area Council. We are the COG for 13 counties. We serve 134 cities. 7 million people live here, and there are 3 million jobs. And we also serve as a metropolitan planning organization in the 8-county region. And we in the socioeconomic modeling, we manage regional data. We do regional growth forecasts of population, employment, and land use. We also develop tools related to socioeconomic modeling. So today I'm going to cover two applications related to employment, and the first one is the Regional Employment Snapshot, and it is based on U.S. Census Longitudinal Employment Household Dynamics data, which is pretty cool, and the data is available at the census block level, and we have and on the application we have the data at the census tract, city, county, as well 1 square mile grids. And the data is updated on an annual basis. And at present, the latest data is 2015. And we also have workforce characteristics by age, ethnicity, income, race, education, and industry. So let's jump into the application. So this is the site where we have, I'll send you the links at the end. So this is the site where we have all the applications. This site serves as a one-stop shop for all applications related to socioeconomic data, as well as environment, transportation, and planning. So you can click on any of these keywords and the relevant applications will pop up. So today we'll be clicking on employment. And so this is the first application. It's called Regional Employment Snapshot. When you click on it, it will ask you to launch it. And you click on launch and it will open the application. So what you see here is the data for the 13 counties, employment data for the 13 counties, and this is by place of work, so where people work. So in our region, we have total of 3 million jobs. And here you can see the historic employment from 2009 to 2015. We see a gradual trend in increase in employment. And on this third dashboard, you see that you have the workforce characteristics. So this is, the first one is race. And if you hover over the donut chart, you see that 73% of the workforce is white, 18% is black, and 6.5% is Asian. And we also have it by ethnicity. So 26% of the workforce is Hispanic. And if you click on age, you see that around 56% of the workforce is between age groups 30 to 54. And likewise, we have education, less than high school is 18%. Bachelor's and higher is 25%. And if you click on earnings, we have 3 categories. So this is all coming from LESD data. So 3,000. So people earning more than 3,000 account for 50% of the workforce. And below we have the distribution by industries. So can anyone tell what is the largest industry in our area in Houston? Any guesses? What is the largest industry? Healthcare. Healthcare is the largest industry, followed by retail. So you can see 62. This is a healthcare sector. We have around 350,000 jobs, and it accounts for 11.5% of the total jobs. And so if you hover over these chart, you'll see employment by individual sectors.
What's the
probably agriculture.
that little green one?
Let's see.
Agriculture, forestry, fishing.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, this is the one. Sector 11. And click on here. We have this basically looks at sectors with more than 5% of employment and groups the rest to others. And here we also have a list. If you click on the list, it will show you what each sector means, the description of each sector. So that's the 13 counties. So if you want to look at individual counties, you can click on this arrow here, select a point. You can click on any county. For example, I'm clicking on Fort Bend County, and this particular dashboard updates data reflecting Fort Bend County. So in Fort Bend County, there are around 183,000 jobs. And as you can see, most of these jobs are population serving jobs. For example, sector 61 accounts for 15%, which is education. Sector 62 is 14%, which is healthcare. Sector 72 is accommodation and food services. And sector 44 and 15 is retail. So most of the jobs in Fort Bend County are population serving jobs. Likewise, if you want to select more than one county, you can select lasso right here, just drag it. So now we are looking at data combined Fort Bend County and Waller County. And you can see updated employment. So likewise, we also have data for places. If you click on the next tab at the top, you see places. And again, the format, everything is same. So you can click on individual city, or you can select more than one city. So here if I select, so this population, it shows 2.5 instead of 3, because this is jobs in incorporated areas or jobs inside city limits. So that's why it's lower than the total jobs. Again, if you click on city, for example, I'm clicking on city of Houston. So there are 1.7 million jobs in Houston. And you can see a downturn in employment. This is during the recession time. So far, any questions? Yes, Clint.
The demographic information above the industry, does that also update?
Yes. Okay. Everything is updated. Yeah, if you just click on the click here, it just shows a pop-up window, but you have to select by clicking on the down arrow here and choosing a point and then clicking it. So for example, if I just click it, okay, I have selection. So if I just click it, it just shows the pop-up window. It does not update the dashboard. But if you select by clicking an arrow here and then clicking it, and it updates.
I've got a question. Is the reason that the earnings are put in per month because that's how the census does it?
That's how.
Like a weird way to think about it.
Yes, that's how LESD does. I know the categories are very kind of 3,300 per month is kind of low.
About 40,000 a year.
Probably, yeah, 40,000 or less.
I mean, it was
probably.
like $4 shy of 40.
Yeah. So that's how the LESD provides the data. These are earnings. So this is not household income. This is earnings per job. So yeah. So we also have the data at the track level, and here we have the dynamic component. So if you zoom in, so the data gets updated. So whatever you see on the map, the data reflects for that particular location. So, for example, if I zoom into L28 area, so this shows employment in this particular area is 1.7 million. So out of 3 million, 1.7 million, so 1.7 million jobs are right here in this location. And similarly, all this is same as the previous. You can look at it. And again, here, if you are interested in downtown employment, for example, downtown has one census tract, so you can click on it, and this shows employment for downtown. And again, you can see during the recession, the employment went down and came back again pretty significantly. So, and here also, like you can select more than one census tract. Just this, it will select more than one census tract. Then let's go to one square mile grids. Again, so the data is available at the block level. So we have converted the data into one square mile grids so that it is easy to understand and easy to visualize. Again, if you zoom in, the data gets updated based on what you see on the map. Somewhat slow. Let me refresh it. I'll get some time. Okay. So each grid here represents 1 square mile. So again, here you can select, for example, here I'm showing uptown employment. For example, this is roughly uptown. It's not exact boundaries. But again, as you can see, the drop in employment during the recession and growth afterwards. And also, so the importance of this data is like you can select each grid and you can look at workforce characteristics. That's the great thing about this data. So this is not available from any other source. This is the only source that provides workforce area characteristics at this smaller geography level. Okay, and moving on, we go to the advanced employment application. So what this does is it allows you to do some queries, run some queries. So here, so this is the layer list. We have census tracts, census places, counties, and 1 square mile grids here. I'm unselecting them. I'm just selecting census tracts, for example. And here on this side, you can see the 4 squares. And here you can click on it and you can change the base map. So if you're interested in looking at the imagery, you can select the imagery, and this will show the imagery as a background. So for now, I would switch back to the topography. And here, if you're interested in any particular census tract and you know the ID, or if you're interested in a county or a place, you can simply select census tract ID or census place. So if you're interested in a particular census place, you can select from the drop-down menu and it will provide the data. So for example, I'm interested in Angleton. So I searched Angleton. It's here, right here. And if you click on the dots next to the results, you can click on the dots and you'll see view in attribute table. Click on it, and that will pop up the attribute table, which shows the data for Angleton, everything that's jobs from 2009 to 2015, and also workforce characteristics. So here, and you can download the data. Click on options, and you see export all to CSV. So you can download the data in a spreadsheet format. Okay, so let me clear this. Clicking on clear here. And the next thing I'd like to show is the select widget here. Click on this light blue circle, and here you can select. Here you can select the data. So I'm zooming in first. So I'm clicking on the widget again. And on the arrow here, you can click on the down arrow and you can select area by rectangle or a polygon or a circle or a line. And here I'm selecting by polygon. And I'm interested in selecting, say, the energy corridor area, for example, tracks near energy corridor. Okay, so the good thing with the advantage of this widget is, so once selected, click on the dots next to these. When you click on it, you can create a layer out of it, or you can view the attribute table, or you can view summary statistics, and you can also export the data as a GeoJSON. I'll show you how you can export the data and how you can save it as a shapefile. And so I'm clicking on export to GeoJSON here, and this is saved in the downloads. So it's saved as features too. And I'm going to open one website where you can convert GeoJSON to a shapefile. So I'm typing mapshaper.org. And once the site opens, all you have to do is just drag that file in here and click on import, and that will import the data. And okay, here when you click on the icon here, so you can click on any of the census tract and you see that all the data is right here. And after that, you can click on the export button here and select shapefile and export it. So likewise, you can create a shapefile out of whatever you selected, and you can use it for your own purpose inside GIS. So once it is saved as a shapefile, then open your GIS and you can work on it and do some analysis. So this is how you can convert user selected data to a shapefile.
Could you go over again how you downloaded it as the original file?
Sure. Yeah, and again, you have to do this in Chrome. It doesn't work in Internet Explorer. So here, once you selected it, click on these three dots and click, say, export to GeoJSON.
I don't have that option.
Yeah.
So I'm probably doing something wrong. Okay, someone's doing something wrong. Sure. Thank you.
Okay. So anyone has any questions on this? Okay. Okay, let's move on. Let me clear this. And so one other thing I would like to show here is the enhanced query. So this is a enhanced query option. So here I'm selecting the 1 square mile grids, and I'm selecting total underscore 2015, which is the 2015 jobs, and I'm using an expression greater than. So I would like to see areas where total jobs is greater than 5,000. So 5,000 jobs per square mile. Clicking 5,000 and click on review query, and that will add the query. You can click on search. So this particular, what you're looking at are the hexagons or the areas with population more than 5,000 jobs per square mile. And you can, I mean, you don't have to use the drop down all the time. You can just type in here, for example. So I'm saying, and so I'm also interested in knowing where the manufacturing jobs are concentrated. So I'm changing a little bit. So I'm looking at areas with more than 1,000 total jobs, and areas where manufacturing jobs account for 25% of the total jobs. So for that, next underscore 05. So next underscore 0 S05 accounts for manufacturing. And again, you can get all that information in the user guide. Divided by so let me clear the map first. Research. So these are the hexagons or the 1 square mile grids where jobs, total jobs are more than 1,000, and where manufacturing jobs account for 25% of the total jobs. So this is a very cool tool where you can, again, type in not just total jobs or jobs. You can look at demographics, you can look at age categories, you can look at race, you can look at income and all these things. So again, all the information is, so when you click on the user guide, it has all the information like how to do these queries and what each widget means and how to operate it. So again, so if you have any questions, you can always send us an email at tegis@sjs.com. So that's one thing. And also, if you are interested in looking at some other data on this application, you can click on this Add Data widget, and you can type in Census, for example. So it will show you data that are publicly available for these geography. So, for example, looking at some census For example, this one. Click on add, and that will show you data from third party. So if you're interested in any other data, then you can just look around, click search, and see if there is any data available. And that data will be added to your layer list. So this one is USA Census Black population. And so one last thing regarding this one I'd like to show is the location analysis or incident analysis. So I'm zooming into Glens area, for example, and I'm interested in knowing the employment around this area. So what I can do is I can click on location analysis here, click on it, and here you can do a search by point or draw a line or use a polygon. So I'm using a point here, just putting a point here somewhere around in Woodlands, and I'm creating a 3-mile buffer around it. And then click on total jobs. So this will show you jobs in that particular selected hexagons that intersect with the 3-mile radius. So you can look at jobs, you can look at demographics, workforce demographics, education, and also industries. So yeah, so this is the end of the first application. Let me know if you have any questions. I can go over them with you. Pardon me?
I know, right?
Yes.
Is there a way, so the location analysis may have already been this. I can download that.
Right. So if you click on this here, download, so it downloaded the data. So you can open it, and you can see the data for each and every grid. So if you do this with census tracts, also you can get this data by census tract. Okay, I'm closing this. So I'm moving on to next application. So the next application is also based on these U.S. Census longitudinal employment household dynamics data. So what this does is, so in the previous application you have seen where, yes.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
For the webinar. Will this be the tool used to evaluate projects for the next 6 months?
No. This is for general analysis. I don't think this is going to use projects. I don't know. Do you have any?
No. I'm still working on that.
Yeah. So, but this is the census data. This is not the data we have generated. So, it's coming from census. So, the next application is the regional commute patterns. So, as I mentioned, so in the previous application, you have seen that where jobs are and what are the workforce characteristics. But what this application tells you is where those workers are coming from. So this is basically origin destination data, so home to work trips. Again, the data is available at the block level, and we have converted the data to different geographies like hexagonal grids, census tracts, zip codes, regional sections, and counties. And data is updated on an annual basis. Again, in addition to the work trips, home to work trips, we also have workforce demographics like age, earnings, and industries. So let's go into the application. Again, from the main page of the application, if you click on employment, you'll see all these. So all these applications are related to commute patterns. And I'm going to select the commute patterns, this one, is grid level. And when you click on it, it will say launch, and you can launch it. I've already launched it, so let me use the one I launched. Okay. So this is the hexagons in the red indicate workplace. The hexagons in the blue indicate home, where people are coming from. So this is interactive. So if you select one, it will reflect the other one. But I'll explain that later. So let's look at the chart at the bottom. So here, it basically shows miles traveled by workers from home to work. So if I hover over this line here, so this tells us that around 31% of the workforce travel less than 5 miles. So that means around 70% of the workforce travel more than 5 miles. Similarly, if you look at here, like around 57% of workforce travel less than 10 miles. And let's look at where people are coming from to work in downtown. Okay, to do that, click on the arrow here, the side arrow here, and you can select lasso here, and just select these two hexagons. These are downtown hexagons that are to downtown. As you can see, so when you select downtown hexagons where people work, so this is where they are coming from. You can see that people are coming from all over the place, but there are lot more, comparatively, there are more people coming from nearby areas, like Montrose, for example. And if you go down to the chart bar, you can see that so around 18% of the people, workers who work in downtown travel less than 5 miles. And similarly, around 36% of the people who work in downtown travel less than 10 miles. That means around 64% of the workers who work in downtown travel more than 10 miles. And you can go further, so 55%. So that means 45% of the workforce travel more than 15 miles. So this is the interesting thing about this application. It tells you really more details of where people are coming from. So now I'll reset this application. So at the bottom, you can see this arrow here. You click on it, it will reset the application. We will go back to the home page. So here, now I'll try to show you three suburban or three cities in our region and how people commute from those cities to their workplace. And this is quite interesting and significantly different from one another. So first I'm going to select Pearland. Okay, and then selecting lasso here. So this is, I've selected roughly area in Pearland. And as you can see, this is updated reflecting jobs. And as most of you may know, most of people living in Pearland work in Texas Medical Center. So this is Texas Medical Center. And some of them work in downtown, and some of them work in Greenway Plaza and uptown area. But you can see that it's less, more concentrated than other places we'll see in a bit. And if you look at the chart, you see that one with traveling 15 miles is basically from Pearland to Texas Medical Center. So most of the people are traveling 15 miles to their work from Pearland. And we set it back. Now I'm zooming into Woodlands area. So let me select a few grids in the Woodlands area. So now you can see that Woodlands area is quite different than Pearland. So there are some people that are working within Woodlands. There are some people that are traveling north to Conroe. There are some people working in the Greens Point area. Some people working in the downtown area. So this is quite different than what we see with respect to Pearland. And here, as you can see, most of the workforce, around 33%, travel less than 5 miles. So most of these people are maybe working within the Woodlands area. And again, this is like 15 miles is probably the Greens Point area, and 20 or 30 miles is probably the downtown area. So as you can see, in case of Woodlands, we also see some reverse commute. So now again, I'm going to set it back. Now let's go to Katy. Click on the arrow. That's all. Here. Okay. So roughly I selected the Katy area. And here you can see it's again different than Woodlands and different than Pearland. Here people kind of work along I-10, or you say along I-10. So people working within Katy area, people working in the energy corridor area, and people working in uptown, and people working in downtown. So if you look at the chart, again, this is significantly different than what you see with Pearland and Woodlands. These have long commutes, especially to downtown and uptown areas. And this is probably the energy corridor. So this is the interesting thing we noticed with the workforce commute patterns. And let me go back to application. I would like to show you one other geography. So this is called regional sectors. If you click on it and launch it, you'll see this. So here we have divided the region into 25 sectors based on the highways. So this particular line, for example, is 288, this is 59, this is 45, this is 290, this is I-10. So we have divided, again, this is Grand Parkway, this is Beltway, and this is the Loop. So we have used the highway network, and divided the region into sectors. And here, same thing again. Here is the red indicates where people work, and the green indicates where people live. And so let's see where people are coming.
Is that like an industry practice, or is it just like you and your team, like, you know what, it makes sense for our purposes to develop these sectors?
So the data is at the block level, but we thought like it would be more useful to display in this manner.
Also,
easy to understand.
Traffic engineer and then other consultants using this kind of thing to identify what kind of a residential and then their workplace location. So typically they're using surveys. However, LHA provides level information, more detail.
Yeah.
So we are.
So let's click on Loop. So as you can see, there are around 0.6 million jobs inside the Loop. So and see where they are coming from. And as you can see, 18% of the workforce that's working inside the loop live inside the loop. So 18%, which is quite significant. Again, so if you look at the others, they are adjacent. So the next one is Sector 9, which is 52,000 jobs, which accounts for 9%, and Sector 6. So they are surrounding nearby sectors. So let me refresh it, and let's look at from a resident's point of view. So if you click on loop, so we see that around 229,000 workers, I say workers because these are not jobs, these are people, but 229,000 workers live inside the loop, and out of that, 45% of them work inside the loop. So this reflects jobs. So 45% of the people living inside the loop work inside the loop. Is quite, again, significant. Similarly, you can select more than one. So let's select. So this is Beltway, inside Beltway, basically. People living inside Beltway 8, where they work. So people living inside Beltway 8, 31% of them work inside the loop. And if you kind of add them up, so these are the areas. So the darker areas indicate where people are going to work. So most of them work inside Beltway 8 and the loop, mainly the loop. So that's with the regional sectors. And also, if you go back to the applications website, you see that we have divided, we also have different geographies. For example, we have counties, and we have zip codes, and we also have census tracts. So you can do a similar analysis on these different geographies. You can, also one other thing is, you go down at the bottom and click on this particular download button, and you can download the data. So click on it, you can download the data as PDF, or you click on it, you can click full data, and it will download entire data for you. And one other thing I would like to show you is the historic commute patterns. So this, we have an application for here. This historical commute patterns. This basically shows you commute patterns from 2002 to 2015. So almost 13 years of how people are commuting, and if there is any change in the commute patterns. So I have loaded this application. So again, same thing. Red indicates workplace, the green indicates place of residence, and here you'll see workforce area characteristics, workers characteristics, demographic characteristics. For some reason, the Tableau has been slow today. It's a server issue. So this is basically the, we have total jobs, we have jobs by age, by earnings, and by industry. So there are different tabs, you can play with it later, but I'll try to focus on some of them. So let's click on comparison ACD, which is the average commute distance. So here, so you can see that this data, this side reflects 2002 data. And again, you can click on the drop down button and you can select any year you want. But right now, what we are showing is 2002 versus 2015. And overall, the average commute distance have increased from 10.6 miles to 11.4 miles from 2002 to 2015. And now we can, if you look at the bars, we don't see any quite significant difference between the commute patterns from 2002 to 2015. But let's select some geography. So right now I'm selecting downtown, for example. So let's see. So in 2002, average commute distance to downtown was 14.2 miles. And in 2015, it's 14.7. So somewhat increase. You can also notice that jobs also have increased from 150,000 or 151,000 to 171,000. And if you look at the arrow, just notice here, like you can see the chart for the 5 miles. See that more people are commuting within 5 miles as compared to 2002. And again, you can select any year here, like instead of 2008, and it will show you it are related to 2008. So that's the thing. Again, you can reset it, and so let's select on the resident side. I'll like to select Woodlands, for example. Click on it, click on the lasso. So let's see how. So as you can see, average commute distance has decreased for Woodlands. So in 2002, it was 14.9 miles, and in 2015, it is 14.5 miles. That's again, it's basically based on recent employment growth in the Woodlands. We have seen like new office buildings going on in the Woodlands, so probably people are kind of commuting less. So people living in Woodlands are kind of working in Woodlands. That basically kind of reduces the average distance, commute distance. So if you click on next tab, we can do the same thing. So what we looked at was distance, and now you can look at by age category. So if you click on comparison by age, yeah, this is for some reason it's been slow today. So here, same thing. You can select any geography, and here you see commute by age group. So if you are interested in how younger folks like age less than 29 are commuting, are they living closer to employment centers, and you can do these kind of analysis using this data or this particular tab. So if you look at the overall general summary, you can see that age 29 and younger have been everyone's commute distance has increased comparatively from 2002 to 2015. But if you kind of select one or the other small geography, it may be different. So you may see a lesser commute distance, or you may see higher commute distance. So similarly, we have these by earnings and we have by industry. So yeah, I guess you can can play with it later. Let me know if you have any questions. I can answer them regarding commute patterns. Again, all the data is available at the block level, and if you want block level data, we can certainly provide you that data as well. So we have the data, and the data is updated, as I said, annually. So the latest we have is 2015, but sometime this year we'll be getting 2016. And that may kind of show a different pattern. Yes, Clint.
You want to upload data on the future, or it's just too much?
It's too much. Because the geographies are not like similar. It takes a lot of time for loading and unloading. So that is one of the reasons we kind of stick with fixed geography or larger geographies.
I want to analyze multiple interstate example. Just get the 1 square mile hexagon best fit, or do you think?
Right. You can. Yeah. So Clint was asking if you want to do select a livable center study area. What is a better option to do? So you can either choose a square mile grid, or you can choose census tract, whichever geography fits your study area, basically. Or if you don't think any of those fits, we can definitely look at the census block data and see if it fits better. But we just did not put it on the application because it needs a lot of memory. Any other questions? Folks on the webinar, do you have any questions? Please let me know. I can answer them. So again, we have here the website for these interactive web mapping applications, and we also have our email address. So if you in future need any help with the data or the application, you can send us an email or you can call us. We are also having another seminar coming up on May 24th, which is kind of combines our first two seminars. So the first seminar, we looked at demographic data. So looked at demographics of people. And in the second seminar, we looked at jobs. And the third seminar, called Activity Connectivity Explorer, it basically looks at activity centers and how activity centers are connected. And it also looks at accessibility to population, to amenities, and to the network. So it looks at all these things, and it basically identifies areas that are very well connected, areas that are kind of lagging behind, where we need probably transportation investment, those kind of things. So it is a pretty cool tool, and actually it is one of the first, or not the first, but the top applications we have. Thank you all for the people on the webinar. Thank you very much.